I don't know where I'm going to post this, if I ever post it. If I do, I have a feeling that it's going to be nestled into some nook and cranny on the internet to where um, I know that if anyone sees it, it won't be people from work, I guess. I don't know why it really matters, but I guess, I don't know. This is the first time I'm going to verbally um, acknowledge and share something that has been on my mind for a while. Um, my name is Casey. It's January 24th, 2023. My eyelashes right here bothering me. Um, okay, just gonna have to roll with it. Um, do you remember what you wanted to be when you were a little kid? What you wanted to be when you grew up? Um, After 2020 happened, there were a lot of things that were happening in my life simultaneously that kind of threw threw off my life trajectory. Basically, everything that I thought my life was going to be um, kind of just started falling away. Um, and with everything that was happening in the world, once I started to kind of get restabilized from all of the shifting and changing, I'm similar to, I think, a lot of us, um, really started becoming aware of our surroundings and the world around us. And, we're just in a we're in a time in history that is ripe for change and transformation. And I don't even know where it came from really, but when I was a little girl, um, in fifth grade, no, I'm sorry, I was in sixth grade. We had to fill out like these all about me sheets that were going to be on display in the hallways for all of the sixth graders, because at the end of sixth grade, we were leaving elementary, the same school that we had gone to since kindergarten, and we were moving on into middle school. So it was kind of like this graduation ceremony. And so on these all about me sheets, one of the questions that it asks, there's two questions that I remember it asking. Number one, what is your favorite song? And I wrote Immature, Feel the Funk. It was from the Dangerous Minds um, album soundtrack, whatever. I loved that song. And the other question that I remember asking is, what do you want to be when you grow up? The answers that I put on there, I did put on a few different answers, but this one has kind of just stuck out to me in my life. So the answers that I put were DJ, a talk show host, or the first female president. And I did put first female president. Um, the only thing that I can think of or remember of like why I would have even put that on there is this was probably a couple of years after Bill Clinton was became president, and I remember that kind of being a big thing. I feel like it was one of the first elections that they really started pulling in some of the younger people into the conversations. I remember there were TV specials where he would answer, he was in front of children answering questions from children. So maybe that's why I had the desire, and I would have, I don't know where the first female thing came from, honestly. So fast forward to 2016. I think we all remember that year pretty well. I, at the time, lived in Chicago, and I had, at the time of the 2016 election, I had just given birth to my daughter, Frances. And she was born in August, and so the election was in November. Um, I remember that night, and I was exhausted, by the way. So my daughter, at that time, I had two children, and I still have two children. I had a son who was around 3.5, and then Frankie, who at the time was a few months old. Frankie was not the best sleeper in the world, so I was exhausted, to say the least. And anyway, when the election happened, had just gone back to work after my maternity leave. And so I did not go out and vote. Primarily, number one, I had a newborn. And then number two, um, looking back, I wish this wasn't the case, but my thought process at the time was um, that I lived in Chicago. Hillary was a shoo-in. So anyway, election night, everything's, on TV, normal, and all the news stations are talking about, it's this historic monumental moment. And, we were going to have the first female president. And I was so excited. And I remember that it was really important. It was really special to me because I'd just given birth to my daughter. And I remember putting Frankie to bed. She's going to be up an hour later, but I remember putting Frankie to bed and thinking, gosh, when I wake up in the morning, we're going to have the first female president. Like, this is crazy. And I'm so thankful that my daughter was born, and she was born the year that we get a first female president. Flash forward to the next morning. That obviously didn't happen. So again, kind of going back to, coming forward to the present time, with all of the changes that were happening, for some reason, this thought started coming up in my mind. Again, remember that the trajectory of my life changed. And I've always been a visionary. And so for the first time in my life, I couldn't see where I was going. And I didn't have a vision. I didn't have something that I was working towards. And it took me a couple of years to identify that vision. And at the same time, I had come to know Christ, and developing a relationship with Jesus. And when you become Christian, and when you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, you become a new creation. The old you is dead and gone, and the new has come to life. And so with the things that are happening to me spiritually, again, remembering everything that's happening in the world, I really started to take on this vision of there's still a chance of being the first female president. Guys, I have no political science background. I did not graduate college. I only went to college for 2 days. And I remember I arrogantly dropped out or withdrew because on the first day of class, in my history class, they talked about Christopher Columbus. And I was like, I've learned all of this. I'm going to go to my job and work full time. I was working at a bank. And so all of my career has been in financial services. I started off as a teller, and 21 years later, I am now still in the financial services industry, but I do advisory and consulting services for cannabis banking. Anyway, I have nothing in my background that would indicate, other than this piece of paper that I wrote on when I was in 6th grade, and also an a job application or a job resume that I did in 2019. I said as a joke that there was still a chance to achieve my childhood dream of becoming the first female president. But other than that, nothing in my background. From Dallas, Texas. I don't know the first thing, really. But one thing that's kind of come to my mind, well, number one, first of all, Jesus and Christ have given me the courage and strength to kind of get to this point to where I am looking at myself in the laptop and saying these words seriously. And there's a saying that God doesn't call the equipped, God equips the called. And that's really resonated with me. And it's been something I can't get off my mind. I've given it to God several times and it just hasn't gone away. I have no idea how I would get there. I have no idea if I'm even the person for the job. Perhaps my purpose lies not in the destination, but the journey. I don't know. But I'm here verbally claiming it after taking several baby steps to get to this point. And I don't know what's in store. But I do know one thing. With everything that's happened recently, a lot of stuff has come to light. Some of the darkness, some of the dark areas of government and politics. And I do know one thing, and that the one common theme in my life, and that has been constant, and that is in my background and indicative of the type of person that needs to be in that position, is integrity and doing the right thing. My life has a theme of doing the right thing, even if, and sometimes it has been at my own detriment. I am an advocate of truth, been seeking truth for all of my life, which finally led me to the real source of truth in 2019, which is Jesus Christ and the Word of God. And with that truth, I have been able to stabilize my life. But I am an advocate of truth. And I seek to find the truth, and I feel like truth needs to be known in order to move forward productively as a society. I have the heart to be there. I see a lot of things, as I'm sure a lot of you guys do, and a lot of us do. I see a lot of things that hurt my heart. I've experienced a lot of things in my life, and I have led a very privileged life, but I have seen things in my life that are not fair. They're not okay. And frankly, some of it is just complete and utter BS. I want to make a change. One thing that's in my background, another thing that's in my background, I keep saying one thing, is that a common theme in my career has been to lead and oversee change initiatives and improving processes. So I have a lot of experience in assessing and reviewing processes, programs, things like that, and identifying areas that need improvement. And creating efficiencies and effectiveness. So I would love to be able to really tackle some of these ancient processes that need to be adjusted and be more reflective of today's time, specifically around technology. The majority of industries in this country have gone through some type of significant technological, oh God, Lord have mercy. They have gone through some type of digital transformation, and it's time for the government to follow suit where it's safe to do so. I do realize that some of the information needs to probably be left in more manual and controlled circumstances or scenarios, but where possible and where safe, I do think that there are some efficiencies that can be created. And then also really to find ways to create more transparency. I think that a lot of us have no idea really what the process is behind something, behind a lot of the decisions that are made. And I'd like to expose that and bring that to light and make changes again where it's safe to do so. So yeah, this is me verbally claiming where my vision settled. We'll see. I don't know.